Hey everyone, this is Gregory Hart. This is the Heart to Heart podcast. Today I'm joined by a very unique individual. He can sing, he can dance, he can do it all. He's been on a reality TV show called The Circle. His name is John Franklin, aka Mama Carol, and he's from New Jersey. John, how are you today, buddy?
Greg, dude, I'm living the dream. I'm so stoked to be here. Thank you for the Renaissance Man shout out. It's the first time I've gotten dance in the whole gambit, but I appreciate it, dude. I'll put it on the resume from now on.
Man, I see all you guys moving on that TV show. I don't know what it is about being stuck in that room to your confines of yourself, what it brings out in people, but it just seems to get the people moving.
Dude, I tell you, I think it's just pure insanity. I think we all start going a little
Yeah.
crazier in a room by yourself for that long. So like you believe you could dance. It's like you guys have the show, like so you think you can dance. It's like this is like you want to make believe you could dance. Like it's like everything you do is like all make believe, you know?
And it's almost like you know the cameras are always on, but for some reason, sometimes you think, you know what, maybe it's just me right now.
Oh my God. In the beginning, you're so aware, like you're hyper aware of like these cameras being like on 24/7. They're filming you 24/7. And then by day 6, I promise you, you could not give two shits. Like you're literally like there was a day I've mentioned this before to other cast members. You're supposed to mention like, hey, I gotta take a shower, like do whatever. And like they'll turn the cameras away. And the one day I just totally forgot. I walked into the bathroom, got naked, and everybody was like, John, oh my God. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I forgot. Like,
You're welcome. That's hilarious. Well, man, I'm super excited to chat and get into your experience and everything that you've had from the show since. Can you give us a little bit of an introduction to who John is outside of the circle? Maybe for fans who don't, I see you go live and people get to see a lot of your life. But can you just give me some backstory into growing up for people who maybe haven't watched the circle yet?
oh man, yeah, of course. So I grew up in New Jersey, like you mentioned. I love a little accent drop. So I grew up in New Jersey, Caldwell. Same hometown. If you've ever seen The Sopranos, same town it's filmed in. The Caldwells is where a lot of the show is based out of. Huge family, like a bunch of cousins on both sides, enough to play baseball with reserves, like huge family. And it really provided a lot for like me growing up and wanting to do like a lot of entertaining and things like that. Like we were always putting together little sketches at family parties, like, hey mom, watch me, things like that. And I was really lucky like to be surrounded by that. I even live with my cousin now, like best friends, like my whole life. And like just built in best friends. I grew up in a smaller town in New Jersey. So like my close knit friend group is the same friends I've had since are the same friends I've had since I was like 12, like
Awesome.
very in touch with my hometown. But now I'm out living in Hoboken, which is Sinatraville, New Jersey. Like that's where Sinatra grew up. And I love it. I've been here 2 years now, went to college in Connecticut. I'm going like Tarantino order on my life right now. I'm going forward, backward, forward, backward. Let me think. Oh, been singing and dancing. Did theater like since I was a kid. Been playing guitar since I was like 12. So I've always had like an affinity for the arts. Always been a big advocate for like guys doing theater, guys getting on stage, like
Oh, for sure.
be yourself, like, do everything. And then after college, I got, really into doing stand up. And I've been a comedian for the last 3 years now, which feels crazy that I've been at it for 3 years. But yeah, it's been absolutely incredible coming from a huge family like mine, coming from a huge friend group that I had from college, and then my small knit friend group from home. And it's like the
Yeah.
amount of support that I've had is incredible, man. And I know it's hard to quantify 25 years into like a couple minutes, but that's probably the best that you're going to do for me. And that's my little elevator pitch about life.
No, I love it. And everything I've ever writ oh my gosh, maybe if I could speak. Everything I've ever read up about you was a lot of people referencing your video to apply to be on the circle. And how like even just listening to you talk about the different places you've lived now, you're always referencing how important that place is based on some type of celebrity or big event or big person that is from that area. And I love that. Like growing up in Ontario, Canada, like I'm really close with my family too, and I've got a close knit friend group that we live like hours away from one another now. We still make the time to talk all the time. When we get together, it's like
Yeah.
like the last time you were together kind of thing. So I can definitely relate to the family thing. That must be like an Italian thing. Maybe it's not, but like even hearing you talk about it on the show, like how close your family is, how big like like my family's big too, but I get what you mean by like you're close on like an immediate family level with your extended family.
Right. Exactly. And like that's been like one of the coolest parts of my life. Like growing up, that was just normal. Like that was what my life was. You know, you go to family parties, every aunt and uncle, cousin, second cousin, everybody's there. And when I got to college, you know, like even growing up, I never thought anything of it. I got to college and I would tell all these stories about, oh, my cousin this, my cousin that. My people always be like, oh, the same cousin. I'd be like, nah, it's like this cousin and this cousin on this side of the family. That who knows that guy, who doesn't know that guy. It's like it's such a different way to grow up, but I'm so thankful it was like how I got to grow up. You know, it's crazy. And the hometown thing is so cool because like I've had so many people reach out to me from high school now and be like, you're the most famous person I know from growing up. And like, I'm like, I don't think I'm that famous or anything, but like, it's just been, my life's changed so drastically. And like, to know that I still have the support of like people that I know for years and years and years is so cool.
Anyone that you just thought to yourself, you're like, you didn't have time for me
Oh,
then.
oh, dude, yeah, 100%. There's so many people who like I had so many people from college like that I wasn't friends with who DM me like it's crazy to think that I know somebody on a TV show and I'm like you're using no on a very loose term. Like
Yeah.
no isn't
Yeah.
really
What's
the
my
right way to
birthday?
yeah, exactly. Like it's more like you followed me on Instagram once because we did a shot together at a bar that's not open anymore. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Friend.
different type of no. But yeah, they're definitely the handful of people where you're like I could do without you.
Oh, for
But
sure.
the support's been cool, overwhelming to a point.
You talk about doing stand up for 3 years now. How did that start? Is it something you always wanted to do? Because I'm like, I'm a couple weeks out from my first open mic.
Oh, dude, first of all, proud of you because that's always like
Thanks,
the way
buddy.
to get into it. That's amazing. And I love to hear more about it. So please keep me posted on it. But the way I got into it was I was in college and this girl had done a few shows in New York City, like one of those like sign up bringers that
Yeah.
are, you know, you bring 5 people, you get 5 minutes. And, you know, she was like, yeah, I'm a stand up comedian. I'm a stand up comedian. And I'd always thought I could do it. I asked her, I was like, hey, like, you know, like any advice for somebody who wants to do stand up? And she was like, to be honest with you, like, I just don't think you have what it takes to do it. Like one of those like weird authority
Wow.
things.
What a
Yeah,
flex.
I know, dude. And that's why like,
That's
I was
hilarious.
like,
You
well,
find out you're
fuck
funny.
you. Like, I was like, I'm going to do it. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to
You
do
just
it
made me
right
want to do
now.
it twice as much.
And like I've been so fortunate to have, I mean, I've performed all over the country now. I'm booking
Nice.
gigs left and right because of the show. Like I was doing 3 years, a year and a half of it in New York City. Like that's like the Mecca. And like I was gigging. Like it wasn't like I was doing bringing shows. Like I was getting booked to do shows. Like I made it to a certain degree in the industry, which is really cool. But that's why, like, especially whenever I hear people who say they want to do an open mic, they want to go start doing stand up. I'm a big advocate for go do it. Like, people are always like, oh, you don't have what it takes and all this stuff. Bull crap. Like, anybody can do anything. Like, go show up to an open mic. You might do great. You might bomb. You might have a few jokes that are good, a few jokes that are bad, but you're going to get addicted to the idea of being on stage, especially for somebody who has like a podcast and like you have a platform. Like, you're going to get on there and be like, I want to do it again. And like
Oh,
that's my favorite part about comedy.
I can 100% see that. And I find it so arrogant for someone to think they can look at someone and for 5 minutes and say they can't do it. Because you can take the most awkward, uncoordinated person on the planet who you'd never think would be a funny stand-up and put him on the stage, and his charisma and attitude and the way he comes across could be absolutely hilarious. So like I don't know. I hate the like the shit on someone type crap. Like just boost each other up. Like if you don't think I'm gonna make it, keep it to yourself. Like I could care less what you really think. So just mind your own business and give me the tip that I was looking for. Like practice,
Oh
practice,
yeah.
practice. Make sure that you actually have a true 5 minutes if you're going to go up and do 5 minutes, because you're going to speak 10 times as fast as you think you're going to once you get up there. So have extra material. And that's the kind of stuff that I've gotten from buddies of mine that I look up to that have done stand-up comedy.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. That's all great advice. I echo it, every sentiment. But I'm telling you, like more than anything in the world, the best thing about stand up is in the beginning, you're going to meet those people. You're going to meet those people who think you can't do it. They're going to be the ones who think they're much better than you. But as you get better and you start doing comedy with better comedians, you're going to realize like the better comedians don't have that attitude. Better comedians aren't like the ones who have done it professionally or have been doing it at these big clubs or have toured and things like that. They're not like quit while you're ahead. Like they help because they
It's
see
awesome.
like your desire to make it. Whereas like a lot of like people who are just at open mics every week and haven't really done it, they're scared that they're never going to do it. So they don't want other people to do it. Like their fear of what success or failure is stops them from getting past that one open mic. And they don't want other people to get any further than them. And I don't believe that that's how anybody should attack me in the entertainment industry. It's just not fair.
No, no, I completely agree. And I before I even really knew that I wanted to do stand-up comedy, like for 3 years, I have been writing every funny, offside, fucked up thing I can think of into a notepad in
Good.
my phone. And I just and sometimes it makes me laugh, and sometimes I'll just grab one of those bits out of there, and I'll just be a random conversation at a get together and throw it in there and see how it works, just like raw and not in the environment of trying to tell it to someone on stage and see how it goes. And this platform and doing the podcast has definitely opened me up to, I really don't care if I fail. I've never heard a good motivational quote in my entire life that doesn't reference the fact that you're going to fail, or the reference the fact that it's going to be difficult. So that's really what I'm starting to crave.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Like, because I started the same way, writing every bit down, writing every funny story I've ever told down, like start telling them like they're a normal conversation. I'm gonna tell you though, right now, though, is like once you start doing comedy and like you're doing stand-up and your friends find out, they're gonna start picking up on when you like are telling them a bit in a public setting.
Yeah.
Like when you're out at a restaurant and you're like, hey, you ever wonder? And they're like, shut the fuck up.
I can't
Like,
wait.
no, I have not wondered. I have not
Uh,
thought about like just shut up and let us eat our wings and just like have a beer.
I
Like
would
it's just
put so
everybody.
much money on the fact that I've never thought what you're about to ask me.
It's
Fuck.
always how it works out. But dude, I'm very happy to hear that you're gonna try it out because like I'm a huge advocate, even if like you don't think you're necessarily funny, but you have something to say. I'm a huge advocate. Get on stage and talk about it because you never know, like if you end up loving it, if you're really good at it, if you made somebody else laugh, like the impact you've had on them. It's crazy, but I'm a huge advocate for getting on stage and doing it.
And you know what, man? Like most of my life, I always. It sounds so stupid. You hear comedians say this all the time, but I was the like standout funny person that shut down a party quiet and was laughed with or at, or was always trying to be the center of attention, funniest guy in the room,
Yeah.
would pick random people out that I didn't even know and just chirp them, or like kind of like how crowd work works. And it wasn't until like 3 years ago my dad passed, and not a big deal. Like it's been a while. Like I'm not overly worried about it anymore. That sounds so aggressive, but I write jokes about it now. Like it pushed me to the point where I was like, you know what? Like life is way too short. I got to stop looking at everyone else's opinion as what I'm allowing to control my life. And since then, it's just been opening up so much for me, and opens up my like the types of conversations I have with random people. Like even just seeing you on social media, like I saw you on the circle. I saw your social media platform, and I've introduced, or I've Chris from I forget what season it was.
Chris Sapphire.
Yeah, I interviewed him.
Yeah, he was from season one.
Yeah, I interviewed him last year, and it was people like that, like, and you, that like your stories caught me. Like hearing you wake up and you're walking, like this morning, your hair's wet, you're walking in New York, you're living the life, pushing encouragement and getting through your day and grinding. It's just it's super encouraging, and it just, those are the type of people I want to surround myself with going forward, is the types like you that you got out and did the theater, you did the music, you posted on Spotify your music with a zero care whether or not people liked it or not. Like people in your inner circle is what I meant. So
Yeah.
it's motivational to be around people like you, and that's exactly why I like to interview people like you.
Oh, dude. Well, first of all, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is like, especially since the show, but even before the show, like I could have never gone on the circle and my life would have been just as great and I would have been living my life and being happy. But like I'm a huge advocate for just like preaching positivity. It's something that I personally like always think like you need somebody in your life who's always going to think like the best is yet to come, like good things are on their way. And like that's how I kind of attack my life. And sure, there are obviously times where everybody gets upset, you get down, like you're never going to be emotionally like perfect your entire every day of your entire life. But like to be the person that, especially on those morning stories, like I have so many people like DM me back, be like, I look forward to this. Like this helps me get through my day. And like that means a lot to me. Even if like I don't, even if comedy might not be the be all end all for me. And it's like I end up doing something more in like the vein of hosting things or a positivity, like building that brand. Like, I
For
don't
sure.
care. Just as long as like I am doing something where like one person a day is like, what John said today made my day better. I'm living the dream. You know what I mean?
No, I love it. Like I did like 100-day, 45 minutes of exercise a day. Like I ended like a couple weeks ago, and it was I was posting it on my stories, and it really took over my podcast network. Like it took over like every single day was just me hitting the gym, me eating properly, and it was after I interviewed a guest, a girl who was doing 75 hard. She had lost 140 pounds in a couple years, and she looked dramatically different. And she just literally woke up one day and said, "I'm sick of this, and I'm gonna fight for this." And it was such a push. And it literally that day I said on the podcast, this is the challenge I'm doing for myself. I'm going to do 45 minutes a day for, well, I said 30 days, ended up doing 100.
That's
It's
awesome.
conversations like this that just I fucking crave, dude. Like it's amazing to talk to people who have a goal or have just an open mind and outlook on what they care about for the rest of their life that just is like addicting, man.
Oh yeah. I think like a big thing for me is like, obviously like there are bad people in the world, like they exist,
Mhm.
but like the good ones and the ones that you surround yourself with and the people who like, I've never, it's sort of similar to what you're saying, is like I've never met somebody who's super talented and thought I'm jealous of what they have. I've never met somebody who is super successful and thought like, wow, I wish I was them. Every time I'm always like, and in like an immediate instant, you get like that a little bit feeling of like that jealousy, but then you turn it off and you're like, how did they get there? Like, I want to hear what
Yeah.
they did. Like, I want to talk to them. And like those type of people, they fascinate you and they drive you, like you said, to like this next level that a lot of people never realized that you could get to. Like, I feel like the word content gets thrown around very easily nowadays in society. And the word content is like preached to not be. It's like you shouldn't be content. And like I somewhat agree with that, but to the other side of it, it's like you don't want to drive yourself clinically insane. Like there's always going to be people who push you to be in the right direction and like stop you from being content. But at a certain point in your life, you should be happy. You know, like you should
For
realize like
sure.
even though you're driving yourself to be better, like you should be happy. Like find that level of
Yeah.
happiness that's like super valuable that a lot of people don't get to experience so much in their lives.
I think that's where you're seeing a shift in our generation in a whole, dude. Like my parents' generation, like I watched my dad be miserable at a job for 6 years, like
Yeah,
to make the money to support the rest of our family. Where I think that our generation is more of like, I will make less to have to be happier, spend more time with my family. The working from home type aspect is changing a lot to be around your family more. And I think it's awesome. Like I completely agree with the content thing. Like at first I heard it and I was like, I don't want to be content. Like I want to be special. I want to do more. I want to stand out. But I'm also thinking like I overpack my schedule every single day. Like
yeah,
and some days I'm just like ready to pull my hair out, even though I'm doing stuff that I love, like podcasting.
absolutely.
Like sometimes I book these things back to back to back. That by the 10th one, I would love the guest I'm talking to, and I'm just so over being in front of the camera and talking to someone that it's taking away from it. So the content thing, I can definitely relate to in the aspect that I love doing this, and no matter how big it gets and how much money I'd ever make an episode, I'm not going to put out an episode a day and burn myself out and be less happy with it to make more money.
Absolutely. And I think like for me on my flip side is like I never thought comedy would pay the bills. I never
Yep.
anticipated that would happen. And like not it isn't happening right now or anything, but it's certainly more realistic than it's ever been. But I never want to
Love
look
it.
at like what I love and think it's a job. You know,
Yep.
like I like my career and like I know like everybody says like there's the whole do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And I had a boss, his name was Jim Dubinetsky at iHeartRadio. It was like my first internship I ever had, and I'll never forget. He said two things to me that I'll like they still to this day resonate. The first one was if I could do what I loved every day in my life, I would sit home and play PS4. He was like, that's not what they mean. It's like, do what motivates you to be great, and then you're never going to work a day in your life. He was like, when you start doing that, and this is the other thing that he said that I love, he was like, don't chase money, let the money chase you. He was like, you will do something that creates revenue, like that will drive your life to be better. He was like, it might be a 9 to 5, like you might move up in the corporate industry, you might have like your music make it big. Like he would give all these hypotheticals, but he was like, don't sit there and be like, I have to work this job, move up the corporate ladder every day. He was like, do what you love and somehow something's going to happen. Do what motivates you to be great. Like the do what you love is like, what motivates me to be great is being a better musician, being a better comedian. And by being a better comedian, the money's going to find me. You know what I mean? And that
100%.
has always resonated with me. And it's something like, even when my parents have been so supportive of having a son who wants to get on stage and, maybe get Will Smith, but they've
I
been so
love it.
supportive of me, like trying to live that dream. And it's like, there are so many people out there whose parents tell them, no, don't go to school to do this, go do business, get a degree, be smart. And it's like, you say that's being smart, but at the same time, like you say that's being smart, but at the same time, it's like, you're not, like, what's smart is like what makes your life better, like what makes you mentally sound, like your
For
mental
sure.
health is so valuable. And like, it's just something I advocate for.
For sure. Like, and when you talk about like you do something you love and never work a day in your life, I look at it as like you said, like you do something that's actually fulfilling to your life. Like
Right.
it could be the hardest work ever. Like I'm a level 3 electrical apprentice, and I loved being in the trade. I loved being on the tools. It burnt me out, and I ended up going into sales, which I love. But it was that type of stuff that, like, when I was on the tools, it gave me a sense of purpose. I felt like I was doing something every single day. When I drank a beer at the end of the night and sat down, it felt fulfilling. I did what I needed to do for the day. I worked my ass off, and I deserved it. And I get that now, and I love what I do, and when I do well for my company, it feels great. But there's no way you could ever, just the type of person I am. I always have been this way. I've had an un an unrealistic amount of jobs in my life, and I'm not embarrassed at it at all. Like I once do you have Buck and Does where you're from? Like, do you have any idea what that is?
No.
Okay, so this might be a really hick fucking Canadian thing, but so when someone wants to get married, to help all their friends and family support paying for their wedding, they throw something called a buck and dough. It's like a big party. It's like 5 drinks for $20. There's like a bunch of gambling games where you put money on stuff and play like beer pong or like a bunch of different games to win points, to win prizes like gift cards and stuff. There's door prizes,
Got it.
and like you buy tickets for raffles and stuff, and all the money goes to the bride and groom, which is a giant party.
Okay.
So, oh my gosh, I started explaining Buck and Dill. I don't remember what tangent I was on. God, what the fuck?
Do something you love, what motivates you. Hold on, we're gonna get back.
I start talking about Buck and Doughs and I'm
Oh, you
fucking.
had an unreasonable amount of jobs in your
Oh,
life.
yes, yes, yes. Okay. The reason why I brought up Buck and Doe is at a Buck and Doe, there's a game, and it's all the cards of a deck, all 52 laid face down, or actually 54, because both Jokers are in it.
Okay.
And for $5, you can buy a card and you sign your name on the back of it. And at the end of the night, we flip over all of them, and whoever the two people are that have the Jokers win $100 each. It's just a game to
Yeah.
raise money
Game
for
of
the bride and
chance.
groom. So I had so many T4s in 1 year of my life. Like I watched my dad be miserable as fuck, and I was not that person. I would stay at a job for 2 weeks, and if I was miserable and I knew I was going to be miserable, I got the hell out. I would have a job right away.
Amazing.
I would never not work. There's no way I never has ever been on unemployment. I've never had to worry about that stuff. I've always gone a job and tried something new. But I had so many in 1 year that my fiance's family did up one of those Buck and Doe sheets from like 1 to 15 with just numbers 1 to 15 upside down, and all of her uncles and her dad and all of our buddies signed a card and paid $5 each, and it was how many T4s, which is like your like record of
Dude,
employment
yeah.
per
Yeah.
job, how many T4s Greg's going to have by the end of 2020. And it was just like this like it was this like, you know what, it's hilarious, and I completely get the comedy behind it, but it's one of those things where I was just I don't care what I'm doing. I'm not going to be miserable doing it.
Absolutely.
I can talk about it for days. I literally want to talk to you about the circle so bad, but like this comedy stuff has gotten my mind like full. Like I
Oh
constantly think
yeah.
about it now, no matter where I am or what I'm doing. When something stupid happens, I'm like, would that be funny? How could you swing that? How could you put that into a story? Or I want to be a
Oh my God.
storyteller.
The thing is, when you do comedy, I'm telling you right now, like you become hyper focused on those situations.
Yeah.
Like this happened to me. This is 2 weeks ago now. So I don't know if you know about this, that this exists, but in New York City, there's something called the Museum of Sex. And it's just like a thing. It's just
I'm
like,
intrigued.
yeah, it's like a bunch of different, like, you know, I really don't really know how to explain it. It's like art, things like that. And Alyssa from
Art.
the Circle is, you know, she's studying to be a sex therapist, sex
Yeah,
coach.
yeah.
And they obviously latched because of the show. Like they reached out to her right away. And Alyssa was like, well, you know, like I had that really funny conversation with John from the show. Like maybe if you want two of us from the Circle to go, like I can ask John, we can both go. So we both go to this event, and it was an event, you know. It's like one of those, like, I was having a good time, but like I'm trying to really
There
like
with a notepad.
engage. It's literally like you know, I'm taking some pictures with people. I'm trying to engage with what's going on, and they're all super nice, but it's just like it's not my jam. You know what I mean? Like there's like a lot happening around me, and I'm overstimulated, and I'm like looking around. And then I see something I will never forget in my entire life. This is an art exhibit. This is like photographs was like the big, it was like a new installation, 3-floor exhibit of photographs at the Museum of Sex. And I look over, and there is a blind man with a cane walking through an art exhibit. And I'm immediately, this becomes my exhibit. I'm like, this guy there's something going on here, because why would a blind man be in an art exhibit? And I look at Alyssa, and I was like, do you see that? And she was like, what? I was like, the blind man. And she was like, yeah, why? I was like, I got to know what he's doing here. She's like, what do you mean I was like, I got to follow him. I got to know what he's doing here. This guy
Gotta follow
does,
him.
he does not stop through this entire, like the first ring of this exhibit. He's just walking. He's hitting exhibits, dude. Like he does not give a shit.
That guy
And
can see. He's fucking full of it.
no, so I'm watching him do this, and my first thought is like, I'm nervous, like a blind man accidentally walked into the Museum of Sex and has no idea he's there right now. And he's walking
He's
through.
just poking people with his stick.
Dude walks up the next group of stairs, does not stop, keeps walking. Next group of stairs, keeps walking. The whole event ends at an open bar. And I am born ultimatum following this man. Like I am like right behind him. And I'm like, this is everything. I got to figure it out. So he sits down at the bar. He orders a drink, and I walk up and I tap him on the shoulder, and I startle him because he's blind. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I was like, hey man, listen, like, just wanted to ask you a few questions. I'm not really jamming with the event right now. Would you mind if I sat down next to you? End up talking to this guy. I am befriending the blind man. His name is Kevin, and he's a very nice dude. Like he's
Name is
talking,
Kevin.
we're cracking jokes, like having beers. And finally, like we're buzzed enough, and I get like a little bit of confidence to be like, Kevin, you know, I got a question. what what are you doing here? Like I was like, why would you, like, what are you getting out of this? And he immediately laughed, and he was like, so I know somebody that's a part of the event. I actually went out with her a few times, and I figured if I came, maybe I'd have a chance to take her home after. And I was like, I like right in that moment, I kind of stopped, and I realized that like it's finally happened to me, that I've finally figured out the lengths men will go to have sex.
Oh my God. I
A
was just about to say
blind
the
man
same
will
thing.
walk through an art exhibit, 3 stories of an art exhibit, just in the off chance he gets laid. And he left with the girl that night. So I was like, but like I was watching this, like the immediate, like the second I saw the blind man, I was like, there's a story, and I have to find out what it is. And you're gonna, like, these things are gonna happen to you as you do comedy. Like, you're gonna go from going to a party, seeing a guy wearing a stupid hat and being like, that's a fucking dumb hat, to being like, why is that guy wearing that hat? Like you start asking
Yeah.
why a lot more. Like, and then you go up and you're like, hey man, why are you wearing that hat? He's like, oh, lost a bet. It was this or get naked. And you're like, what? How is that the two options? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, there's always going to be like a weird reason why you're like, something's happening here, but why is it happening? And that's like when comedy starts overtaking your life.
I need to know if you've had any poor interactions asking people why they're doing something.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Give me like, a plethora, but um, oh, I got a really good one actually. Like really good one. A big thing for me is like when I go to bars, that's when I start really asking a lot of questions, because obviously like you're drinking, like you're
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
things going on.
Confidence goes up.
I see this guy. This is probably a year ago. We had moved to Hoboken about a year and change. It was right around the time we moved in, and there's a bar like up by like the train. It's like a very popular like kind of like clubby bar.
Yeah.
And I'm walking around, and I see this guy, and dude, I mean, wearing the most heinous shirt I've ever seen in my life. Like it was a button down and had like, I don't even know how to describe the pattern. It was very like Aztec-y, but like the way that it was, just like the way that it was situated, I was like, there's got to be a reason he's wearing that shirt, because like no human being should choose to wear a shirt like that.
Was that free? Please tell me it was free.
I thought he lost a bet, but I go up to him and I'm like just having a conversation. Hey man, I got a question. I was like,
Is he blind? Did you ask
No,
him if
he
he was
was.
blind?
Could you imagine if that was the end of this? I was like, he was blind too. I was actually Kevin. But
He was at a sex museum a couple years later.
Yeah, I've been following Kevin for a year and a half. That's the end of this whole story.
Kevin doesn't know this, but he has a stalker.
Yeah, I just want, what really happened was I got drunk and thought he was Daredevil, and I've been just convinced ever since. Like I just been following him. But I go up to this guy. I'm like, why are you wearing that shirt? Like just very bluntly, why are you wearing that shirt? And he was like, you got a problem with my shirt?
Oh,
and I go, and I panicked. And the thing is, when I panic, I get honest. So I went a little bit, like just like that, like just like a little bit.
so
And he was like, my girlfriend picked out this shirt for me. And I was like, I'm like kind of looking around. And I'm like, okay. He was like, I'm going to tell her you said that. And I was like, now I'm confused. Like, is she here? And he starts texting her like right in front of me. And I was like, what am I waiting to find out? So like I walk away, I go with my friends. I was like, that guy's pissed. Like I got to stay away from him the whole night. About an hour later, a girl comes up to me, rips me around. She goes, you got a problem with my boyfriend's shirt?
Whoa.
He got his girlfriend to come to the bar, and she's like, she let me have it, dude. She was like, that's a designer. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean anything by it. But like, there are just people, because like, I can't mind my business anymore. It's like impossible. Like, anybody will tell you, like, when they hang out with me, like, I will just talk to people. I cannot mind my business. Like, I ask them questions. I just have to know things.
That guy is a fucking liar. He got into it with that woman about that fucking shirt, and she made him feel like crap. And he went to the bar anyway wearing it. And
yeah, exactly.
And you're like, why?
I did him a favor. He probably hates that shirt too, and he can pawn that off on me.
What he was texting was, see, there's a guy at the bar. He made fun of my shirt. Told you this is a fucking stupid shirt. She's like, I'm on my way. Oh my
god. But yeah, it's so many times, dude. So many times. Asking why is always an issue. It has always been an issue for me. I can't not do it.
Fucking funny. Dude, I got a really weird problem with making, like, okay, when I go to the bar, I ask people to rate me. Like RATE.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, like in the fucking most outrageous ways ever. Like I go to this country bar, like in a city nearby. Do you know Canada at all, or Ontario? Like, do you know
really,
Toronto?
no. Yeah, Toronto. Yeah, I got.
So it's in between me and Toronto. It's a city called Guelph, and they've got this bar called Cowboys Ranch, or the Ranch, sorry. And I go in and we're drinking whatever. Me and all my buddies, just for the environment. We wear all of our flannels and our cowboy boots, and we're just being dumb fucks all night like usual. Well, buddy's like, let's go outside and have a cigar. I brought some cigars, so we're headed outside. I shouldn't even be at the bar anymore. Like, I don't even know why. I don't even know how I walked down the fucking stairs to get out. But all of a sudden, buddy runs up, rips open my flannel, rips off every single fucking button on the shirt. And all of a sudden, my eyes open all the way wide. And I'm like, holy fuck. So I bolt across the bar. I rip off my next buddy's fucking set of buttons. He goes. So all of us are sitting there with our shirts completely ripped open, not a single button to even hold us together. Beer bellies out, not looking good at all. I come down the stairs to go out for a cigar, and this like very attractive woman is walking up the stairs. I fling my shirt open, put my fucking foot up on the step, and I'm like, rape me. She's like, you want me to rape you? Like, wait a fucking minute. Yes, but 1 to 10. 1 to 10. She's like, oh, rate. She's like 8. I'm like, I gotta go, boys. I'm leaving on the 8. I know I'm not an 8, but I'm fucking taking the 8.
Yeah, even though whether she meant it or not, like you have to take it. Like, because then you have to say forever.
I wrote it in my journal later that night. Like, I was fucking jazzed. Oh man, I can't imagine partying in New York.
Oh, dude, it's incredible. I was just actually going to tell you a quick one about like how bars get out, kind of like out of pocket. So we go to the same Irish pub in Hoboken called Mulligan's all the time. Hoboken is just like a New Jersey town right across the way from New York City. And I was going to this bar once, and then but there's like a bar on the way there that I was like, let's stop, like we should go in there.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
waiting online, and this guy online is chirping. I mean, like he's like chirping everybody for no reason. He's just really drunk, and I like one thing like is a big thing for me. My grandpa used to say it to me: stupidity is an option, and people choose it. Like when people are being stupid, like I really don't like. I'm like I can't handle this right now, and he was being mean to everybody. And I was there with my cousin Claire, and we were both going in, and he starts yelling like these two cut me, like they cut me, like they're line cutters. I was like, are we in middle school? First of all, we didn't like like we did not cut you. You got here after us. So like this guy's giving us the business, and he's just being really annoying. I'm being quiet, and I'm like, I can't deal with you. So I go into the bar, and this is another instance where I can't mind my own business. And at this point, this guy's like become I'm jet focused, like laser focused on this person in the bar. I'm like, I'm waiting for him to fuck up. Like I'm waiting for him to fuck up so I can let him know he fucked up. And I go to the bar, and he's like on the corner, and he's standing there. He's talking to his friend. He was like, yeah, I just feel really bad for like what Johnny Depp is going through. I went, and I heard it, and I was drunk at this point. I go, hey, buddy. And he looks up at me and said, celebrities don't care that you care about them. Why I said that, I have no idea. And I walked away, and my friend said, what did you just say to that guy? I said, he goes, I would kick your ass. I said, I would deserve it. Like, like that's the thing is in New
Just
York is nobody minds their business. Like everybody wants to like chirp each other. Everybody gets aggressive when they drink. Like there's no like anytime there's any level of like kumbaya in New York where like people have any level of love for each other is either they figure out they're from the same hometown or the people they're with are from a different country. Like that's literally it. Like those are the two instances. If you're from New York, like you just want all of the business right there. You just like want to be a troublemaker the whole time.
that's just fucking like the whole premise of what you did is hilarious because you just like see a haggler outside and you just like fucking stalk another guy. Like, thank God he's not blind.
Yeah.
He's like
Could
he
you
says
imagine?
something and you're just like, no one cares. Like it's so
What would
fucking
you have done
incredible.
if like this whole segment is like I really just follow blind people for like my hour special is just all about people who are blind.
This is an H2H exclusive. John Franklin from the Circle stalks blind people. Like he's a secret little fucker. That's hilarious. I do. This is fucking hilarious. We're like over halfway through, and we haven't even talked about being on the circle.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
Well, how was the experience? But like obviously you can assume what you're gonna go into walking into that place. I
Mm,
keep wanting to refer to it as like a hotel. You
an
go
apartment,
into this
whatever.
place. What expectations, like what you expected was what did you expect that was real, and how far from what you expected was it?
Yeah, okay, great question. Like when I got there, my my gut reaction the whole time was like, I don't know if I'm gonna go in the original group. I don't know if I'm gonna go in later. Like, I don't know what the deal is.
Oh,
And then
so you
they
don't
tell
know
you that
that.
no, you don't know that until like the day before. Like the day
Oh,
before, you get a message being like you're going in. Like if you like you're going in tomorrow, that's the original group. And if you don't get in tomorrow, like they'll be like, all right, you're going in next week. So like I found out I was going in the original group. It's the day before, and then that day at like 6 o'clock, a driver picks you up for an apartment, drives you to the Circle apartment, and you're waiting in like a holding room. And I remember thinking I didn't know what my room looked like. I didn't. I'd obviously watched all of the show, and I was like just thinking like, are there really like, is it really going to be like the screens are on, like you're playing the game right away? There's chats, and when I walked in, the room was exactly as you imagined it to be on TV. Is like you're like, okay, it is of the quality of living that I thought it would be. It's like it looks really nice, like it's pretty cool,
hmm.
full kitchen, everything. And then you realize the game is not the same. Like the stuff that you do that makes it to television, you do about I want to say like 15 times to like 20 times more than that. Whether it's conversations, like things that don't make it, there's so much that doesn't make it to air.
which
Like
which
think
which is like kind of expected. Like not like it's not when you see the show actually being filmed, but you can understand like they've got to try and get quality shit. Like, so there obviously has to be more conversation, but continue. Sorry.
No, you're good. But I thought like one thing that was weird watching it back is like when you're there, and this is like the thing that I stress to most people about this experience is like you are living in a movie. Like you're the main character in your room and everything's about you. It's like it's crazy. Like the producers over the speaker, like, can you do that? Like, what can you do? Can you talk about this? Like, how do you want to say this? And you read every message that comes through, everybody's messages, because you never know who's going to get edited to be the one who's reading it, like in a group chat and things like that.
Oh shit.
So like you are living everything. And then you come home and you watch it and you're 1/12 of like the television that's on there. But you start remembering like what you were doing in those instances that like you're not on screen.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, I did that. And I'm like, I'm kind of glad that didn't make it on television. Like I did that. And like, I wish that made it because that would have been a hilarious thing. And there's like so much of that where like there are so many memories I have of things that don't make it in the show, but like I got to experience like something that like still kills me was during the roast. I wrote this really long-winded, like rambly roast, sort of like I was my mom. Like obviously killed me to not write it as myself because I felt like I would have done a great job. And
For Nikki.
at the my feedback from Nikki Glazer at the time, she was like, you know, like it was very long-winded, like a text message from a mom. And at the end, she says, like, and she said, I'll never forget it. At the end, you won me over. And I went ballistic because I was like, I can't believe I just wrote a sketch as I wrote a roast as somebody else, pretending to be somebody else, and an icon of comedy ended up liking it, even though it was like not good comedy for the most part. Like the comedy was good, but like it was the writing that got me done. And I go crazy, but you only see me go crazy in the only part that makes sense that she says it was a rambly text message. So my reaction doesn't add up. And I was like, they could have left in her saying, but you won me over. But she's like, no, Carol, it just sounded like a rambly text message, like a mom would do it. And then it cuts to me and I'm like, let's go. Like, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I look so dumb right now. Like, I look so dumb. It's like, I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's just so, I don't mean to ramble too much about it, but there's so
I
much.
love it.
I literally, dude, I mean, so many things that don't make it in. Like one day they asked me to play, they got me like this little bowling set, like, you know, like a little Tykes type of thing. Cause like it's just a time waster. And they were like, can you play bowling? I was like, yeah, you got it. Like one of those, like to make it look like I'm doing something in my apartment. That's not the game before like an alert happens. I'm bowling and I get a strike and the producer over the speaker yells, you got to celebrate. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do because I'm in my little hallway that's like right before the front door. I'm like looking around. He goes, try doing a cartwheel. And I found out that day I don't know how to do a cartwheel because I like yeeted my body into a wall and I just collapsed onto the floor. And the producer was like, yeah, there was a little bit of silence and he was like, are you okay? Like just like that, like just like, are you all right? Because I don't think I could describe to you what an adult man looks like not doing a good cartwheel, but I can't imagine. I can't imagine it's like a great thing to
I
watch.
don't remember them putting it into the show. I'm assuming it didn't make it.
No, it didn't make it. Like
Fuck.
that didn't make it. There are a few things that like a few conversations I had that were awesome that didn't make it. Like, and I obviously they're making a TV show. I can't
For sure.
fault them for the decisions that they make. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff where I'm like, fuck, I want like I wasn't allowed to talk to a lot of people about it besides like the people that knew I went, like my family.
Yeah.
And I would talk about things that happened and then they wouldn't happen on the show. And my family was like, where was that? I was like, there's 11 other people that they have to get into this edit. Like not everything that I'm a part of is going to be in it, but there were some like bummers, like things that like made people really believe I was a catfish for a while that doesn't make it in the show because like obviously a big angle for me was that I was probably the first catfish in the history of catfish on this show that people figured out was a catfish pretty early, but I was so trustworthy in the game that they were like, we love whoever this is, so we can't get rid of them. Yeah, Brew. Even Alyssa, like to this day, will be like, if I ever had a decision to get rid of you, I wouldn't have done it. Like she saved me against Chris Hook. Like, you know what I mean? In that elimination. So it was just always that, like, even though I wasn't who I was loyal to my alliances.
It's very true. You were. And did you have any idea during that amount of people knew that you were not you?
No, like you really have no idea, because all you have are those like those group chats and the minimal interaction that you have. And also like you choose to use, like you don't really you ask to speak to certain people and they give you who you're going to talk to for a day. So I was only talking to people that like really trusted me. Like, and they,
Mhm.
even if they didn't believe who I was, they were never going to be like, I know you're not who you say you are and I like you. You know what I mean? Like they were just
Yeah.
going to go along with it because it helped my game.
That makes it very hard because like you could go in, like I've applied to the circle.
Mhm.
I don't know if they allow Canadians, but I applied anyway. Um, but it makes it very hard to go in there with that big of a mindset and a game, like a I don't know, a plan of how you're going to execute your game when you don't even have the opportunity to speak to every person.
Right. Yeah. That was what was annoying, because like a lot of people always say that have said back to me, especially, um, that Frank, like they were like, you know, you and Frank were influencers from the jump. Like, why did you guys not make an alliance? And I was like, I can't speak to Frank, but I asked to speak to Frank every day. And I never got a chance to. I asked to do it in group chats. I asked to do it one on one, and I never got a chance to do it after we were influencers. And I think it's because, like, you know, you're making a TV show. And I think they realized that, like, had Frank and I built an alliance from the jump, like, we're the two influencers, we really like each other. Like, that's not good TV. You know what I mean? Like, they kind
Yeah.
of wait for you to build the TV outside of it, because but I'm still there trying to win money. You know what I mean?
100%. And like it honestly reminds me of it's reality TV, obviously, but I interviewed a guy that was on Love Island.
Mhm.
And he talks about how like he had so many good conversations with people on the island because like at that point you don't have to ask to talk to someone, you're all in the same location.
Right.
But he had so many good conversations with people about stuff and getting together with a different couple and the people that are together and all this stuff. And he's like, 90% of it never made it to air. So like after I was done the show, people were reaching out to me like, why didn't you talk to this person more? Like you would have made a couple with this person. It's like I did talk to that person, but it didn't fit the narrative of the drama and the suspense and the bringing you
Yep.
back the next episode and wanting to keep you involved in the show, which I get it. If someone's not involved in the show, it's not going to continue. There's not going to be $100,000 to give away.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
get it. But how's the food situation? Like, I talked to Chris and I think that he talked about, like you could ask for what food you wanted in. Was it all just like you cooked every meal?
Yeah. So I have the really cool answer about this one, actually. So before you go, about a month before, they ask you to make a grocery list. And I am a 25, 24 at the time year old man. I don't even go to the store with a grocery list in my regular life. So I was like, all right, time to put this together. So after a while, like, you know, you list what you think are the bare necessities. And then I started listing things like I wasn't even sure if they existed. I was like honeycomb cereal, like if they still make it, like things that just like I could have been discontinued from when I was a child, just to see what they would get for me. Cause I was like, they can't get all of this stuff. That would be crazy. But a big thing that they stress, and I mean stress, is make sure you ask for a lot of quick eat things for like lunchtime when we're filming a lot. So that way you could just like grab a protein bar, like frozen chicken tenders, like things that you could just like kind of leave and forget and then eat really quick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I'll just ask for like cold cuts. So like I'm like writing a whole list. I wrote turkey, ham, and I keep writing. I'm like, fine. Day one, I get there. I walk in, and we're filming, we're filming, we're filming. The producer, I have not opened my fridge to this point, and my producer is like, hey, you might want to like grab some lunch. You have like a couple of minutes before we do something. Forget what it was. It might have been just like a chat. And I went to go to my fridge to get cold cuts, and I open it up, and there is a full raw turkey and a full raw spiral ham. And I like just in this fridge. And I like, you had to have been able to see my face, like the producers, because I was like, and they're like, what's wrong? And I held up the ham. I was like, I can't make this. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I can, but like it'll take a long time. And they were like, can't you just like cook it really quick? And I was like, you guys don't have
What the
Thanksgiving.
fuck?
I was like, you guys don't have Thanksgiving here, but nobody has ever seen a full turkey and been like, oh, it's raw. We got to cook it real quick. Like it'll never happen. Like, you know what I mean? So
Buddy,
like,
you gotta be Mama Carol. What the fuck do you mean? You gotta get that turkey in the oven, get some dressing in that bitch.
dude, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, get the dressing going, get the gravy, get everything, get the drippings. And I'm like, but I'm like, this will take like 6 hours for me to make minimum. I don't know how many pounds it is. Like because they take all the packaging off of it because it has like the
Yeah, the
wrappers and
labels
like
and like the
brands. So
brands.
it's
Yeah.
just like a raw bird. And I'm like, I can't eat lunch and I certainly can't make this. So like, and they just keep delivering food like as it goes. So like if you need something, they got you. They'll get it to you that day. So it's like they're great. Like the people who do the welfare for the circle are like rock stars to put it in one term. Like they care a lot about the people that go to do that show because I think they realize it's like mentally draining for all of us.
That's incredible. I think it was you. Do you use Old Spice deodorant?
I had 4 deodorants. Yes.
Yes, you did. Because that was the first moment where I was like, they obviously made you put a white sticker on it because I know it's probably a pain in the ass to get that label off the Old Spice like bars because that's what
Yeah.
I used too, and I could tell what it was immediately. And I'm like, what the fuck is the white label? I'm like, oh, they obviously don't let those brands to come in. How did that
Yes.
work with clothing?
Okay. So when you go, also, I don't know if you know this, but there was a whole subreddit devoted to why does John have 4 deodorants out? And it was because I was so nervous of sweating through everything that I was like, I gotta have all of the deodorant. But yeah, the actual clothing and stuff was when you get there, they stress to you before you go, anything with a brand on it, they will take from you for the duration of the show and give it back before you leave to go home. And I had enough clothes that like just like are not branded that I was fine.
Yeah.
But the thing that's a bitch is that they take all of your toiletries the day you get there and that's when they start covering things. And like you do not get your deodorants, like your cologne, your like chapstick, anything you need to get through the day, like shaving cream, anything until like that night. So like if you are, if you need to put deodorant on, like if you need to like brush your teeth, you can't. Cause like the welfare team is going through everybody's things and covering every label. Like I don't mean like just the big labels. I mean literally down to the smallest thing that says, I actually wait, hold on, let me grab something. This is like they have to make sure no brand is showing. This is like a hair cream that I use, and like they cover up everything, like down to the very last name. Like it's crazy.
That is, I never really thought about it because you just watch the show and you don't even really notice the brands or who are wearing, who are doing like. And what about like activity time? Like, there's obviously like a workout room. There's a hot tub. The only person we really ever saw up there was like Brew.
Yeah, well, I got to go to the gym every day. We all get to go. Like they give us our free time. It's not necessarily like we're gonna get outside for like fresh air, even though they try to get us outside for fresh air whenever they can. We all get like to use that space. Whether or not they film, like they use what they film in that space is up to them. But it's always like up to their discretion of if there's a game going on. Like a lot of time for me, like when I went to the gym, no chats were happening, or like I could get away with no alerts and then get
Nice.
back. But that was just like luck of the draw because we all are allotted a certain number of minutes a day for those things.
Now, I always thought to myself, and I remember talking to this with Chris, but me and my fiance would sit here and we'd watch, and it'd be like you all went or you voted like your order of popularity, whatever, like you did your casting, and a couple minutes later, the based on the TV, it'd be an alert to like the votes are in, and
Mhm.
everyone would be like, "Oh my god, like alert, what the fuck?" Like, and I remember I think Chris talking about the fact that the time between you guys putting in your order of how you want people ranked and when you actually get the alert that it's done is a decent amount of time.
Oh yeah, I mean, they will like that's just TV. I remember the one episode we find out right away that we find out the rankings right away and Frank and Yuling end up being the influencers.
Yep.
And what they do when that happens is like you don't change throughout the day. Like they won't let you change your clothes because of continuity purposes until like you're going to bed. But they like for those instances they'll ask you to go right back to where you were. So like I think that vote happened sometime in the afternoon. I don't know what the time was because we didn't have clocks, but I remember not finding out that we like who was going to be influencers until later that night because I had eaten dinner and then sat back down on my bed to keep shooting the rest of it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I get what you mean. Like, you obviously have to get back to where you made the votes so that it seems like it's seamless.
Exactly. Like they will put you in the right spot. Like, cause the producers never come to your room, but they have like, they see obviously everything you're doing and they talk to you over the speakers. So like they like to tell you like move a little bit this way, sit down, whatever. A big trick to the trade. This is, I guess this is a circle insider. That's pretty funny though, is that I realized because you would talk to your producers about things and they would want you to talk about what's going on in the room. But I realized very quickly when I would try to formulate my thoughts that if I was looking down the barrel of any one of the cameras in the room, they couldn't use that take because like they wanted to be like faux reality, right? So like the camera's not there for me.
Mm.
So like I would, when I was like really thinking about what I was going to say, I would find a camera that they weren't operating right away and I'd be looking right at it. They'd be like, why are you doing that? I'm like, just because you can't use it. And I want to make sure that I sound not dumb. You know what I mean? Like just to make sure that you're on top of everything.
Wow. It's smart, but it's just such a weird concept to just be in like and Chris always said like you guys are actually all in the building. It's just you're on
Yeah.
different floors, you're very separated, like you're not anywhere near someone where you could hear them by any
Yeah.
means. But what do you think that your biggest take from doing this show was?
Uh, I mean, easy is that like from all the walks of life that exist in this world, like when you do a unique experience like that, like anybody can be friends. Like if you look at,
True.
if you lined up the group of people that were on the season of the circle, like in a police lineup, and they were like, all right, man, figure out like Greg, figure out what these 10, 12 people have in common.
Yeah.
And you're like, none of them look or act or do anything the same. Like our personalities are so drastically different. But when you go through something that's so life changing, and all of us have had different varying levels of this like life changing aspect, right? Like people have blown up bigger than life. People have not like the social media thing maybe didn't hit as heavily for them. But what happens is like we all get this one experience to be like, we did it together. You know what I mean? Like we
It's
did it
true.
absolutely together.
And you
And
really rely on one another when you're in there.
oh my God, like Trevor's like my big brother. Like Brew and I
Nice.
are best friends. Alyssa and I do something together like every weekend. Like it's crazy. It's crazy what we got out of this, more so than just the being on TV part.
So you and Alyssa.
Is that the whole question?
That's the whole question.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth
I
on that.
love it.
On that.
I love the fifth is such an American thing, but I watched this. I watched the show The Suits or Suits,
Yeah, I
and
love suits.
I know what the fifth is, or else
Yeah,
I
you got to
wouldn't.
plead the fifth, man. Like you can't make decisions on your own in this world anymore. You know.
The fifth is a U.S. Law term, but I do
Oh
never
yeah, I
say
guess
it.
yeah. For those of you that don't know, pleading the fifth is basically what when you're going to court or like you're doing anything where they're interrogating you, like you have
Criminally.
the right to due process of law is what it's called. So like having a lawyer and things. So when you're not represented at the time, like you say, I plead the fifth, like I will not talk without representation is essentially what it means. So I will not talk. I will not say anything.
That's amazing. How weird was it not to have a phone for that long, or how nice was it?
Nice. Like
I
I
bet you it'd
loved
be
it.
like a
And
nice just breather.
in the beginning, dude, I was like, what can I like, what am I doing? By like day 3, I was like, this is the best I've ever felt, like mentally, physically, like going to the gym, like not having my phone on me. I was like pumping out a workout in like 30 minutes, not even. And just being like,
Yeah.
I feel great. And then you immediately get back to your phone. Like anybody who tells you like they took more time after the show, like to not use their phone, they're so full of shit. Their eyes are brown. They do not, they're lying to you. Like we all went back. We're like fiending with it, you know,
Oh, for sure. You'd have so much to come back to. What do you
so
mean? Like
much.
you like especially because they released the episodes. Like I've never this is the first time I've watched The Circle as it was released. I've always waited
Oh
until the entire season was released. And then like when I reached out to talk to you, you hadn't been eliminated yet.
yeah. I remember
Like
that because it was mid-season. I had to ask you to go through the Netflix people at the time, but
exactly.
that's the
So
thing that's also crazy. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, that's fine.
I was gonna say that's the thing that's also crazy. Like for a month of your life, like Netflix determines who you could speak to, and then like literally the day the show ends, they're like, proceed with life. Like they like do whatever you want. So that's why I was like when you reach back out, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like because I'm not waiting for them to figure it out.
And maybe you can't talk about this, and I completely understand if you can't. Is there something in it for everyone, or only the winner?
As far as like money,
Yeah.
we get paid to be there. We have like a live-in fee. It's like a it's called the displacement fee. So
Mm,
basically, for the amount of time that you spend there, it's like you make X number amount of money when you like the day you get home from England. So you get X number, and that's half of the total. And the other half of the total we all got when the show aired in May.
nice.
And
Okay,
then
cool.
obviously like Frank has he gets the displacement fee plus winning the
Perfect. Okay.
actual show.
That's cool. I figured that there had to be something because, like, you're away. Like, how long is the show from start to finish? Like, how long were you away for?
I was away for a month. We filmed for half of that month. So the first half, because it was the time of like COVID peaks and things, was that 1 week was just a quarantine. And then the next week was all promotional content, promotional things. And then the Monday of that following week, like the third week, is when we would go into the game.
And how long did the game actually last? You're in there.
2 weeks.
That's so fucking crazy.
And like the thing is like they don't tell you what time it is, they don't tell you what day it is. So like you're there just like they put you to bed and they wake you up. They're like, good night, good morning, lights turn on, lights turn off. Like you had no say in your life for 14 days, but the producers are, well, at least the ones that I had were incredible. And like they're very on top of the fact that like this is a crazy experience for you. And like they're not demanding. They will let you live your life as best as you can in such a crazy experience. But yeah, it's like, if I had people who didn't give a shit about my well-being and just cared about the TV show, I think I'd lose my mind even more than I did.
Oh, for sure. What's next for John? I saw that you have a YouTube channel that you've just released. You've been trying to perfect it. Is that what your
Yes.
main goal is now? Is to release content on there?
My man, great question. So, definitely want to get the YouTube up and going. I have a couple series ideas that I want to work on. One of them is called Franklin Finds, where I will be going around locally to Hoboken in New Jersey, where I have spent 2 years of my life now, and going to local businesses and having them basically explain to me like how they make their big special of the day, things like that, like food finds, things like that.
I love it.
Another thing I'm doing is Sunday stories. Being a comedian, I have a lot of stories, so weekly putting those out, and just keeping in touch with my Instagram and TikToks. Just TikTok is huge for me. Instagram is huge for me. The reels, the sketches. I'm writing constantly, doing a lot of sketches, and on top of everything, for everybody listening, I am a comedian. I'm always looking to book gigs, and like I've booked a great amount since the show's come out. Nah, hopefully
That's
more,
awesome.
but I should be coming up. I'm on the cusp of booking Niagara Falls in July, which would be a lot of fun. I come up to Canada for that. So I'm trying to really get to ultimately my goal is, by hopefully this time next year, like comedy's paying the bills. And like that would be the coolest thing of my life. Still producing music too. So it's all happening. But my YouTube channel is hopefully going to be my next big thing, and keep the content rolling on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm very thankful to have all you guys who follow and keep up with me, because I never thought I would have this. And it's been honestly incredible.
No, dude, I love it. Your content is like you put off so much the people that you're speaking to, and you speak like as if you're speaking directly to them, and you don't like in your stories, if you say something and you rebuttal, or you fuck up a word, or you do something wrong, you're the same as me. Like, I post it, and
Yeah.
I'll have some things where, like, Instagram stories lets you to click like a hands-free mode, so you can just click the button and start recording.
Yeah.
Well, I've done it many times where I click the button, I start recording, and I'm finished saying what I'm saying, but I forgot I was on hands-free mode, and I set my phone down in my cup holder in my truck. I'm like, oh, I guess that when you're done speaking, you're supposed to turn these things off. Staying in, and I turn it off after that. It's like I just I find what you do contagious in the aspect that you show the real shit, and you don't constantly edit it and move forward. And you're a Norm McDonald fan, so that already has you
Hell
my
yeah.
good books, which is wicked. So
Oh my
um
God. My favorite ever.
yeah, he was a good dude. It was cool because he always was every night, from every comic I've ever talked to or heard he was listening to him, or anything I've ever listened to him, he was just like a wing it. just shows up and it's new
Yep.
stories every night. And he was just always a funny and courageous and just amazing dude. But
Man.
I got two questions to take us out here. They're very random. I'm trying to do something different here.
Let's
And
do it.
let's just see how you answer these.
Do it.
What products do you use in that luscious New Jersey Harriers?
Good question. I really just shampoo and condition it right now. Every now and again, I will use this touch up cream just to make sure that I'm not like too oily. And then a hand every now and again, I'll use a spray leave-in conditioner. Palmer's, great brand, not a sponsor.
Wow.
But yeah, that's really
Love
it.
it.
I keep it very low key. Initially, I would put a lot of stuff in it. My sister, who was like my beauty advocate, was like, you got to stop putting so much crap in your hair. So like there was initially like I put out a video very early on where I do put a lot of stuff in my hair, and she was like, you got to do another one where you say like, yeah, I stopped doing that. But yeah, I keep it simple now, and
Are you
it's
are you a
still
Dove
going.
guy or are you using an Old Spice 3 in
No,
1? What are you doing?
no, oh my God, I can't use a 3-in-1 with this. Come on. That's the thing about men is like we use something like that. It's like a 6-in-1, like shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, body wash, shaving cream, and it does your taxes.
You
Like
like
I'm
it?
like I need to do a shampoo and conditioner. It's OGX is the brand. My sister got it for me, and I've loved it. I love it ever since.
Oh, dude, like I don't have your hair, but I've got like
You
thick
got it. You got
I
something
got
going there.
thick curly hair. If I grew mine out, it would grow up before it grew
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
But all right, next question here. I know you're Italian, so this question may be stupid. You a tan or a burn kind of guy?
Tan all day.
What?
I'm a yep.
I would not have taken that. I thought
Yeah,
your
man.
your fair skin would be a red boy.
You know what it is? A lot of people think that because I think just my winter skin just gets so pasty, like pale. But I like give me like 2 weekends at the beach and I'm crispy. It's really crazy. Like it's just like shout out the Mediterranean blood because it reacts different to that sunshine. It's not like it like almost comes out of hibernation.
Dude, I have zero fucking chance. This year I finally started to get a little bit of a darker skin
No, I see it. There's a hue. There's
on
a
my
hue.
arms. My legs, like I love golfing. I got white golf shorts and I look like I'm wearing tights. Like it just looks like the pattern that's on my white golf shorts just stops all of a sudden. But
It's
I
amazing.
for years, my whole life, it was a white burn peel white burn peel white. Like it was just I every time I touched this or I was anywhere near the sun, it was like, hey, you're gonna be red for a couple days, but this skin's gonna fall right off. Like I was a fucking shedding snake. It just would not stop. I could not get over it. I didn't know what to do. But man, I gotta say, man, it's a absolute joy to speak to you, dude. You're a good dude. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and I really, really do appreciate you coming on the podcast and chatting with me today.
Oh, dude, Greg, I had a great time, man. I really appreciate you keeping up with me and like making sure I got on the show because I had a great time. You're a great host, man. I'm looking forward to hearing about the stand-up stuff. So let me know, and I'm always happy to make a reappearance if you ever want me to come back on. So thanks so
Hell
much, man. I
yeah.
appreciate the time.
Dude, it's absolutely my pleasure. This is my one podcast platform where it's that true heart to heart, find out what makes people tick. I have another podcast called Fresh Thoughts from the Heart where we talk shit, more of like the I don't know if you've ever heard of Two Bears One Cave or Bad
Yeah,
Friends,
of course.
kind of like that kind of podcast, just talking shit and talking about our days and the chirps and the feels. So definitely do that with you. And man, I'll tell you this, next year I haven't really planned it all yet. I have a lot of guests that I've had on from Boston and New York and places across the states, Michigan, and I've got a goal next year to fly out and meet these people in person, whether or not it's just for a dinner or just to say thank you or a ball game or whatever it may be. So maybe I'll come see you do some stand up in New York sometime.
Man, you get out here. Beers are on me, my friend. I'm stoked about it. So thank you so
Love it,
much,
brother.
dude. You've been great. You're the best. Appreciate it.
I would like everyone to know where they can find you. What's your biggest platform? Obviously, they can
Yep.
find your YouTube through your Instagram, I believe.
Yeah, you can find everything through my Instagram, but please follow me. That'd be fantastic. I'd love you all for it at underscore John Franklin underscore underscore. If you search John Franklin, you'll find me on Instagram, at John Franklin Comedy on TikTok and John Franklin on YouTube. And you should be able to find me everywhere. So easy name, but luckily there's not too many comedian versions of it.
Everyone, you heard it there at John Franklin. It's the underscore John Franklin underscore underscore at John Franklin Comedy on TikTok and on YouTube. Go check the guy out. He is contagious. If you just want to wake up in the morning and see someone else getting after it and pushing you to be your best, happiest self, this is the guy. It's not an in your face, get your ass up, get in gear, do your thing. It's a beautiful day. Let's just take in the air. Let's just have a good day. And wait, hold on. I got this.
Come on.
It's a
Give it to
great
him.
hold on. I'm so close. It's a great day to have a day, or it's a great day to have a great day. So have a day. Am I close?
It's a great day to have a day. So why don't you have a day?
I love it. Let's go, baby. I appreciate it, John. Thank you so much. Everyone go follow him. I can't wait for this episode to air, and I appreciate you so much for your time, man.
Thanks so much, dude. I loved it.
All right, buddy. Have a great day.